Hello everyone, hating week 8 of Unpicked, the Great British Sewing Bee, our programme that runs parallel with the Great British Sewing Bee, and we watch each episode, reflect on it, analyse it, and then come back and talk together and give you a show. Though it made me laugh, some of the comments last week, Ting, were like, we want Ty and Ting back. Because it was a short show, I think we did it in half an hour, didn't we?
Well, I think that's because we said we weren't going to discuss what we'd spent 6 weeks discussing. So we just focused on what we'd never talked about before, and we got through it rather quickly.
Absolutely. But
maybe a similar thing this week.
Well, I think so. Maybe a couple of areas, but on the whole, it was a great show. But now, before we go on, we normally go and talk about the comments, but I just want to change it because we're at the quarterfinals. You can see there below me a little thank you to you, the viewer out there. Look, I've got some confetti for us, Ting. Because... And let's where's that gone now? Over the last, this is 8 weeks now, you, the unpicked viewer, as well as the all gathered up viewer, have keep coming back and returning back to watch the videos. And as we said right at the beginning, many of you don't watch any of the other videos that's on the channel, but you keep coming back year on for the Sewing Bee. Well, more than ever, you have come back. And that has meant some of the ad revenue from wonderful YouTube Google has paid this month, Ting, half of the rent of the shop. Isn't that amazing? Half.
Amazing, yeah.
Now, my rent is somewhere around the £700 mark a month. So you can see now what that ad revenue is. And also why so many youngsters want to be YouTubers or influencers, because they want to tap into that money. But that has made a huge impact on the shop. Because as you can imagine, July and August are the shop's most quietest time because not many people craft. They're outside enjoying the long days and want to be in the garden and so forth. So sometimes seeing customers is very difficult. And that's where I've gone into YouTube, because tapping into that ad money can help pay a few bills. Now, normally it only pays, as I say, like the broadband, which is about 50, 60 quid. So to get that much, absolutely thrilled. So to say thank you, I've got some special deals for you. So we're going to go into an ad now, Ting, okay? So just two minutes of your time to see what offers we've got for you. Now, the first one, look, I've even linked up my phone. That was a little sneak peek. So for you, unpicked viewer, you will remember in the early days, we used to do this show in the shop, didn't we, Ting? We'd sit there in the back room. Well, we used to sell fabric and all the haberdashery that went with it. And when I made the decision to stop doing fabric last year, we had to clear it all up. Well, I put it into lots of boxes to keep because I thought, I know who would like that during the Sewing Bee season. So we've got lots of offers for you. So here we've got a bundle, like a sewing thread bundle of a biggie, 2 mediums and 3 littlies, 100% cotton. Now, Ting, listen to this. I feel like I'm on QVC. This, if I was selling this thread bundle in the shop, that would be £26.70. But the unpicked viewer can get it for 15 quid.
Wow.
That's a nice little saving, isn't it? Because basically, we need to say goodbye to the threads. And who better to say goodbye to it all than give it to you, the unpicked viewer, for coming back week in, week out to watch us on YouTube. So that's one little deal. So that will help you keep your sewing for the next year. And if you get your offers in... I can even choose the colour. So you can go to the checkout on my website. All the links will be down below. And you could say, oh, Stuart, can you chuck us in some neutrals? and I'll just rummage through. Look, and that you could have a brown one there, or you could have a beige one there, or you might say I want red, white, and blue. And of course, I'll rummage around for it because I've got loads of them. Obviously, while stocks last, but why not? If you want specific colours, I've got loads. I've also got loads of fabric left over too. So I've done some special unpicked boxes and all gathered up boxes. Quick look at this. Look, this is an unpicked mystery box. You have no idea what's in it, but you do get 3 meters of fabric. Now, how that comes, it might be metre cuts, or it might be half metre cuts, or it might even be fat quarters. Here, you've got 3 metre cuts. And actually, that's a bit of a fluke. They actually go well together. Normally, they could be anything. Now, these are all designer fabrics from the patchwork world. So you could have Moda, Riley Blake, Michael Miller, and all sorts. Then also at the bottom of the box, you get some shade cards. Now, these are marvellous because they're the whole collection from years gone by. This is a Michael Miller one. Look, and actually, some of these pieces end up being like fat quarter sizes. So if you like EPP, or you make pencil cases or little notion pouches, these will be really great. Look at this Michael Miller one. And actually, this is a really good one. This is this is Riley Blake, because actually this one is double folded. So if you were to take that bit of card off, you're going to get massive lengths of fabric. And remember, they all go with each other because they're part of a collection. When the reps used to come round to the shop and show me what I'd like, this is what they used to show us. So I've got quite a few of these. So there we are. That's the Unpicked fabric box. That should retail for 58 quid, but we're doing it for you for 30. So that's the unpicked one. And then all gathered up people might like the haberdashery. So this box is a proper mix of everything. You'll get fabric. Oh, look at that. Look, that's another one of those scrap ones. Look, with little bits, half fat quarters. What's a long quarter, that's the word. And then you get some haberdashery stuff too. More thread. Look, that's some snips worth 6 quid, and all sorts. Now, if you were selling that at proper retail price, that should be 40 quid, but you're getting it for 22.
Well, there you go.
There you are. That's my sales pitch done. A little treat to say thank you very much to the Unpicked viewer. Right, let's come back to normal, shall we? All the links will be in the description below. It'll take you direct to my website, and you can have one of those or stock up your threads ready for it. There we are. Right, Ting, how are you feeling with Diva week then?
Well, I mean, it was an interesting theme, I suppose, after what we've had the last few weeks.
Absolutely. I have to say, I was a bit nervous, but I actually really enjoyed the episode. So let's go into it quickly. Who have we got left? So we're entering this. We said goodbye to Marcus last week, didn't we? So let's get rid of him. There we are. That's our quarter finalists, our 5 sewers: Elsa, Alex, Luke, Pasha, and Susie. And the first of the pattern challenge was a Tina Turner inspired fringe dress. When I saw this, I loved it. What did you think of that dress?
Yeah, I actually really liked it as a concept. I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't think it was something you could knock up in half an hour, but it was relatively easy to make the dress. The difficult bit was getting the fringing on straight. But in terms of the makeup of the garment and, how many pieces it was to make the dress up, that, it was, given what we've had in the past, it was relatively simple. Yeah, okay, there was the fringing and there was the zip, and that's where some of them came unstuck. But it was actually quite a nice challenge as opposed to something, where we've perhaps gone, like with the pajama top, we only had a pajama top, we didn't have pajama bottoms, and stuff like that. So this was a good opportunity for them to, choose a nice colour, because I think that made a difference. And then also, there were sufficient skills there to kind
Indeed.
of show off what they could do. And there were areas to trip up, like we said, with the fringing.
Indeed, and that's where we knew as the round was going to progress, it was going to be on the fringing, or it was going to be on that zip, or it was going to be on how they were paying particular focus on how those seams met, even though it was going to be covered by fringing. They were kind of obsessed with looking at that. But let's see what Patrick said. A mini dress inspired by Tina Turner, out of Duchess satin, and Patrick said, which was interesting. I thought I chuckled to myself when he said this, because I thought of you. Before he said off you go, he said, and read the instructions carefully. I was thinking, oh wait up, there's Ting. Oh, there's going to be a MacGuffin there, isn't there? That's a foreshadowing something to come. What? But it didn't end up being anything at all. But it did make me laugh. But yes, so the invisible zip and those the seams were going to be what the focus was. So let's have a look at the sample, which looked fabulous, actually. Wasn't that great? That's
very Tina Turner with the colour as well, though, isn't it? She could have been stood there.
Absolutely. And let's look at the group. There they are. They're the finished 5, and it was really enjoyable. As I said at the beginning, the whole episode was great for me. It was funny. Everyone seemed to be on form. It was almost like, could this be episode 1 of the Sewing Bee? Can we forget everything that's just gone? Can we now just start? It was funny. It was good. I just really enjoyed watching this pattern challenge, and it went by really quick because we could see what they were doing, and we could see those 2 or 3 areas to focus on.
Absolutely. And, I know, like you say, there were errors in some of them, but ultimately we had 5 finished garments, which has not always been the case. So I think, it does make it a difference when you can actually feel like you're comparing one to another, as opposed to going, well, they should really be in the bottom because they haven't finished it.
We've only got 5, so we can scoot through in alphabetical order and have a look at them all. Elsa's. What did you think of the red from...
I liked it, but I felt that her fringing seemed to be a lot heavier than maybe some of the others.
Yes, it was something about even that shot there. It just looked like something was going on underneath. It looked like a bit murky. It looked like there was, just... I don't
have a problem with the colour, but I just felt that whether it was thicker or whether it was denser than the others, like with those sorts of dresses, like... I would call it a flapper type dress, but you'd want it to hang there, but you'd want it still to be close to the shape of the dress underneath, so that the movement came when you moved your body and everything moved. Whereas that looks quite bulky.
Yeah, I couldn't work out what was going on with the fabric look. There was lots of shadowness going on, and it's like, this doesn't look like the 2 emerging, or something is underneath going a bit wrong.
I don't think that was necessarily anything to do with Elsa.
No.
Looked at it, I think it was that fringe seemed to be denser than some of the others that they had.
And let's go to Alex. You might see the difference when you see...
See, you can see the shape of the mannequin better here, which makes me think that the other one is down to the density of the red. But, again, fine.
Yeah, absolutely. And then Luke, now, you could see that was going to be stunning right from when he was just starting work on it. It just seemed to go effortlessly for him. That looks stunning. And look at the shape there as well. Even more shapely.
I think he had a slight advantage because I feel that he has worn a dress very similar to this that he's made himself from what he was saying. So, it is one of those things where it's just the luck of the draw if that's what you've been done, and he's worked with fringing before. He had the tweezers to keep them out of the way. He knew what he was doing. So
absolutely.
He was able to produce a stunning garment there.
I've got a note here to say mention tweezers, because they are an invaluable tool at the sewing machine, and I'm surprised at how few people actually use them. They are phenomenal.
Yeah, but I think, when you're sewing on your own at home and you've got time, you would bring in those other things, whereas this, you're so time conscious that you're whipping things through the sewing machine, so you're not being as finessed as if you were doing it at home. But the nature of the fringing required you to do something like that. I would have absolutely hated this, because I would have got more and more frustrated with the fringing getting in the way. So the patience came from him having dealt with this sort of thing before,
Absolutely,
and knowing what to do to ensure that he got the look he wanted.
Who was it? I started to write it down and then I stopped. I think it was Luke. Was it Luke and Elsa who did actually take time to pin or fabric clip the fringing out of the way when doing the back? And I think Pasha and Susie were the ones that didn't. And they were, you felt for them there, because they then didn't have the patience, because the little bits were flying in everywhere, because they thought they could just sew as you go, but you couldn't, could you? So that preparation that he put in into clipping or moving the fringe to the side paid off, didn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And again, if you'd have given that pattern to me, I would not have thought to do that. I'd have got frustrated at it going wrong. But that's where, if you've made something with this, those tricks of the trade.
Pasha, who went for a two-tone effect.
Yeah,
colour-wise.
I think make-wise, we're fine, but I didn't feel that you got the movement was there, because it will naturally create movement, but I think because it was so pale...
Yeah, lost impact.
You kind of lost the impact of it, which is a strange one, because, if you think back to some of the flapper dresses and everything, they might have been black on black, and it's the same thing. You get the movement from when you actually move the garment. So that element is still there, but then when it hangs there, I just don't know if there's enough for when it's not moving. If you understand what I mean.
And then we go to Susie, and this was I felt for her here, because she said, "Yeah, I've done fringing before. I feel really confident," and it was going so well for her. And she then didn't do the moving the fringing out the way, doing the back. And that might be the foreshadowing bit of Patrick. Read the instructions carefully. Maybe in the instructions it does say to spend time clipping the fringing out the way to do the zip. So if they didn't read that, that's probably, and just went for it. But I then felt for her then. I was like, oh no, you were doing so well. Oh.
But then if she's worked with it before, she should
have known. That's it. Yeah. I'm just wondering what I would have done in that position. Would you have just gone, I don't need to pin them to one side. I don't need to spend that 10 minutes doing that.
That's exactly what you would have done. And then you would have got it all brought up. And then I would have walked in, and as it was being pitched across the room to the other side of the room. That's what would have happened if it was you.
What? I'm cut to the core.
Well, it wouldn't be the first time that happened.
Okay, let's have a look at the running order there then. So, where are we? Susie was 5th. Pasha was 4th.
Yeah.
Alex was 3rd. 2nd. And Luke 1st.
I don't know if you're expecting the pen to work. But
I was. That'll teach me. That'll teach me for not looking at the screen. There you go. Oh, that's all right. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. So Luke's at the end there first, and that I think we were all happy with that. We knew that. We were thrilled for that. Well, I was. I felt it was like, yes, I can see that's the best. I agree with the judges. They kept their criteria right. We're going to look at the fringing. We're going to look at the zip, and we're going to look at the seams. It was those 3 things, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Right, transformation challenge then. So all's going swimmingly well. Transformation challenge. They had to use animal print, and I've got the picture here. Sample. Where is it? There. To there. So there's the sample. They had to use animal print to make loungewear for a diva on a day off. Now, you've probably got loads of these outfits yourself, haven't you, Ting?
I'm always lounging around in leopard print.
Right.
I don't know if now's the time to out the fact that I didn't actually watch this. with you last night, did I?
Well, you were
So-
too busy watching the football.
And I'm not even
Why?
a football fan.
I know.
But I just felt that after 8 weeks, after 7 weeks of the sewing bee, the football might be mildly more interesting.
Well,
So I was watching this hurriedly about 2 hours ago, so that obviously I could talk. And I don't think I listened properly to what this challenge. So
right.
they kind of got halfway through, and I went, "What the hell are they doing?"
well, it'll learn you. The only one that you didn't watch properly was the best one of the season so far. They could choose 3 pieces of those animal prints, and they could use anything from the haberdashery. But they had a strict criteria. But I think that criteria kept getting a bit muddled.
Well, I think that's why I got a bit muddled.
Yeah, well, they kept saying it needs to be comfortable because it's loungewear, but then they wanted it to have big impact, and they're obsessed. They're obsessed with big impact.
I think that's why I got a bit confused over what was going on, because to me, loungewear is one step above a pair of pajamas. It's something you should feel comfortable in. It's a pair of trackies. And I get that the Diva element would be, yes, it's made out of leopard print or zebra print or whatever. But then you're right. Then when I kind of was trying to work out what was going on, and then they were saying, oh, but it's got to have this, and it's got. I was like, but I don't want to be faffing around with lots of crinkly lace and everything like that. Yeah. If it's loungewear, I want it to be functional and comfortable. Yeah. I don't want to be trying to make a statement, because if I was going on an aeroplane, I'd have my big tortoiseshell sunglasses on, a cap, and I'd have my trackies and my little vest top on, you know. I would have been faffing around wearing what they made. So I kind of didn't get it. So because I hadn't really listened, and I was rushing trying to watch it, and then I was trying to figure out what was doing. When the mannequins came forward, I went, I still don't really understand what I'm judging here, because that is, to me, none of it was loungewear.
Okay, I can already hear the viewers throwing slippers at you. They're going to throw them at you.
Me?
Yeah, of course, for not watching. Too right. I'm going to get mine. I ain't got a slipper. I've got a chicken. There's a chicken thrown at you. No, but you're absolutely right there. And that was the only time I threw my slipper, was like, oh, you've almost put that on as a bolt on. It felt like Esme said, that it must have big impact. And then they came back to, also, it must be a cohesive design as well. Like you say, you'd have your tracksuit outfit, your grey tracksuit bottoms, and your grey hoodie top or something. So it was a difficult one.
Like, what if they had just made, essentially, like obviously for a woman, what if they'd made just like a little strappy vest top and a pair of either shorts or trousers?
Yeah.
Because to me, that would be comfortable.
Yeah,
and it would just be made out of leopard print or zebra print or snake print. You know, to me, the Diva bit came from choosing the animal prints. I would have gone, well, I'm just going to make a basic T-shirt and shorts because that's casual loungewear.
Well, you would have come 5th.
Well, yeah, but then that's the thing, isn't it? Yeah. It's like, well, it can't be loungewear if you want it to have a really dramatic silhouette and be really uncomfortable. So I kind of felt a little bit for Luke, because I did kind of think, well, you are putting boning in the back of you're putting wire in the back of your outfit there, but they were also being encouraged to make something that was a bit more, with a bit of oomph.
Yeah, well, for impact, you're going to add to it, aren't you? Because you can't have much impact out of cutting 3 animal prints up, especially when they then said use the haberdashery. So it's almost saying you need to get in there to make something weird and wacky.
But then also, I don't know it's how you interpret the challenge, but Alex's,
right,
I get it. I think she'd chosen quite well with the colours that she'd put together, with like that orange and brown and everything else like that. But the trouble is hers looked like she had literally rolled out of bed, because she put all of that lace around it, and it looked like a nightie. And then you're like, well, hang on. The judges are saying, oh, well, this is if you were walking to the aeroplane. And I was like, well, if you're walking to the aeroplane like that, you'd be locked up in a padded cell because they think you'd gone too lally. So it wasn't quite... The whole challenge just didn't pull together. And I don't know if that was that they didn't really understand. And I don't mean the sewers. I mean the judges and the production crew understand what they wanted that brief to be.
Absolutely.
The sewers were trying to interpret what was going on and trying to go... Well, like, Alex has gone... a bit like I've got a dressing gown over my nightwear because the lace kind of gave it that nightwear vibe. But then Luke was trying to go for the kind of thing that would make it diva-ish by having a bit of an outlandish design.
Yeah.
And then,
Well,
like Pasha's just did seem like a top and a pair of shorts, which on the one hand you think, well, that is the leisure casual wear that you perhaps want if you were in a flight. But then when you get to the plait up the back, I mean, like they moaned about Luke, but that had a big old plait down the back. So you wouldn't want to lay down on that because you'd be like, kind of like that, wouldn't you? So it was just
it's like
kind
a bed of nails.
Consistent, you could throw the odd slipper there if you wanted to, regardless, couldn't you? Because I don't think they knew what they wanted, so therefore it gave the judges a free hand to just decide whatever the hell they want. And then as a viewer, you're going, well, I thought they did meet the brief. Or
Absolutely.
That's when you get the frustration with judging and interpretation, inspired by and all of that.
Let's come back to Luke's again. There's Luke's Rhea. So when they said it needs to have big impact, that is something that's impactful, isn't it? It's different.
I mean, I don't know if he'd have managed to do that without putting the wire in. Maybe if he hadn't put that keyhole shape and he'd just done it as straps across the back, maybe that would have been a bit better.
It's certainly got more impact than that, hasn't it? But it's difficult because they said loungewear for a diva on a day off.
Yeah, but that's just it. It's all business at the front, and then as the paparazzi are taking your picture, and then as you walk past, and you've got your keyhole in the back and everything on show, that's exactly what you want.
But this is where I can understand Susie and Alex doing I'm on my day off, I'm on the settee, I'm just going to put a dressing gown over my undies.
To me, that's what I would have done.
Yeah.
I would have gone, well, it's something I'd be lounging around the house in, just rinse the toilet out and go and put the dishwasher on, and then I'll go and sit and watch Homes Under the Hammer with me fluffing mules up,
But because this is lovely. I think that's really clever, this one. The opposites, and then the green and the green, and then the green there. It's just very clever.
Yeah.
And then Elsa's, which I did love. That is diva-y, isn't it?
It's diva-y, but then is it loungewear? It was like it's a great outfit, and I can't fault the sewing or anything on it.
Yeah.
But does it look particularly comfortable to be flapping around in? Or going to the airport? I mean, you could see someone going to the airport in it, but actually, would it be comfortable if you were on an 8-hour flight? That's where I didn't feel. That's where I was like, have I not listened to the brief? Have I missed something? Because it just didn't seem like you could do a fair judgment across the 5 garments that we had there.
Let's come back to the group picture, but it was enjoyable. It was still edited well. They were having fun. It was the whole diva idea, I think, was fun because they were obviously playing songs, and we all connect with certain divas in our youths or in our lives now, don't we? Really. So I think you could see them. It was almost just like relaxed. It just felt very different from all other episodes. So and this was just fun to watch.
You've got 5 people there. That's why it's a lot easier, because you can spend a minute with a person as opposed to 10 seconds with a person.
So we've got Luke, we've got Susie, we've got Alex, we've got Elsa, and we've got Pasha. And the final order. Go on.
It comes down to what the judging is, though, because you could argue that Luke's was not going to be comfortable, but then Susie hadn't caught all of her stitching and had a big hole in the back of hers, so technically hers wasn't finished.
Yeah, had the hole in the bum. That's why she was in the lower end, but it was close. I thought that Alex, even though I loved Elsa's, I thought it was, with big impact for sure. But yes, loungewear on a day off. I just thought Alex's was perfect for a loungewear on a day off.
I thought Alex's was too much like
nightwear,
not loungewear. Not I'm going to go out and hang me washing out and put me bins out.
Yeah,
I'd still want to put something over the top of Alex's because I'd feel a little exposed.
So there we go then into the the final round, the made to measure, we've got from the first round, we've got we've got Pasha, and we've got.
You're just writing on the screen.
Oh yeah. Pasha and Susie. First round, Pasha was fourth, Susie was fifth. Then the second round, we've got Susie again and Luke. Just so people can see. So we're already going in thinking, right, Susie's got to do an awful lot to stay in, hasn't she?
Yeah.
And then maybe it could be Luke or Pasha as well going. Did you have
I don't think it was going to be Luke, because I don't think you can throw people out based on the transformation challenge. I think with him coming first in the first challenge, I don't think that kind of put him in he needs to go home because he can't string together a couple of rags for the transformation challenge.
Well, they then went into that blurb, which we used to call, I can't remember what it was, with Joe's curse, wasn't it? And it was interesting because Patrick said that no one has earned a place in the semis yet. So no one really popped out. So we got the feeling it was all going to be down to the made to measure, didn't we?
Well, I mean, they effectively said that. And I kind of get that, because you've got we've got 4 good sewers there. That's a matter of opinion, but you've got good sewers there, so it was getting difficult to put them in order.
Yeah.
So on the one hand, you're quite right saying, well, okay, let's have a look at the final one, but then that's when maybe we're starting to head into controversial territory.
Well,
let's put it that way.
I think so, because this is where I get my assessment criteria out, and I went from really enjoying it to, I'm really upset, but I understand why I'm upset, so I kind of coped with it. But for a moment, I was like really frustrated. So we had the made to measure, and let us know too what you think in the comments. They had 5 hours to make a stage outfit for a diva of their choice. Okay, that was it. Simple as that. Now, whether they had something written down somewhere, I don't know, or whether they said more to the sewers. But as Alex said towards the end, I think the stage, and this is quote, I think the stage they're picturing is bigger than the stage I'm picturing, which is true, isn't it? Because you've got to create a stage outfit. You could interpret that however you like, can't you, T?
Well, again, there's a bit of interpretation there. Are you talking about a stage at Glastonbury, a stage at the O2? Are you talking about the stage at the back of a pub somewhere where you're only 4 people deep? What is the stage you're performing on? I kind of get that, but I think the diva thing implied it was something more Glastonbury or O2. But
okay. Well, we'll get to that. We'll get to that as we talk through them all. But yes, a diva, you would just automatically think, well, which divas which diva would you have chose or connected with, or what you in the term that you think a diva is?
Well, I would, on a personal front, I would have just gone with Kylie.
Yeah. Kylie or Madonna?
Oh no, I wouldn't do Madonna.
No? Okay, let's go through alphabetically then. So Elsa, and this was her Shania Twain diva that she chose. This sort of
I presume that this was filmed quite a while back, because obviously we've had Shania Twain at Glastonbury this year, haven't we? So
yeah.
But then I felt, it was that whole thing of like, is it inspired? Is it what? Because this is essentially a reproduction, albeit in a different colour, to a very similar coat that she had, and the only thing that made it different is that she'd put the saddle buckles and everything on round the outside. But the basic premise of it being a leopard print coat with the gloves is what Shania Twain has worn in the past.
I didn't know that. Okay. So I suppose it's inspired by knowing that this is my diva, she's worn this before, so I will make this.
Yeah, but again, that's where you come down to saying, well, what is the actual criteria? Is it you are trying to replicate that outfit, in which case, Elsa was doing that in part. I mean, it is different, to Shania Twain's one, but it is essentially a take on something that Shania Twain has worn? Or are you making an outfit that, yes, maybe Lady Gaga, maybe Shania Twain, maybe whatever, but is it an outfit that kind of takes the spirit of that diva?
Yeah. Well,
which is what I felt the Lady Gaga ones did.
Yeah. And then it starts developing as Kyle starts narrating over the top. He starts saying things like, "Oh, with razzmatazz, the requirement." And I'm like, well, I don't think they got that on their brief, razzmatazz, because I wouldn't say that's razzmatazz, would you?
No, because she made a coat. And there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
I'm not criticising that. I thought it was very good, to be fair.
Yeah, what stunning.
But, you know, the Shania Twain outfit, she was in a cat suit.
And
then the coat was over the top. And then this whole spinning part and everything like that was part of the look. This is just a coat.
Yeah, and then also one of the criteria that they said as the edit went on, they've got to be seen from a distance, as if they're at the back of Wembley. So now we've gone from a stage outfit to Wembley's, and they've hinted to us it's Wembley. You're not going to see that at the back at Wembley, are you?
Well, no. So then you start to say, well, hang on a minute. She's chosen grey and grey as the print, so. We can barely see it there. Yeah. So the further away you are, you're not going to see it. The other thing is she chose essentially pleather, which is PVC, which is plastic, and I can tell you a lot about wearing plastic.
You're going to be hot in that, wouldn't you?
Well, you are going to be hot in it, and so then you have to say, well, was it the right choice of material, and was it the right colour? If you're saying Wembley, because probably not. That grey seeps into each other.
Yeah. Yeah, those accessories are phenomenal, but yes, when you then do this, you're not going to see any of it.
You're not seeing it, no.
And that's where I feel for the sewers. I'm like, what was on that criteria? Because they showed us pictures of Elton John with the huge glasses. Did they give a picture of that on their brief? And this is where I just feel for them. It's like, oh, Sewing Bee, you were doing so well. And then, like, did you not give them enough? But then maybe that's why they don't give them enough. They keep the briefs rather cryptic so they can get people to go wrong.
Well, I think I wouldn't say necessarily to go wrong, but I think they leave it ambiguous enough so on the day the judges can then refine it, and then you're stuck, aren't you? Because even if you're halfway through this challenge and you overhear them say, well, we're looking for razzmatazz, you're going to sit there and go, well, no one told me that, and there's nothing I can do about it now. I've got to do what I've got to do because I've only got 2 hours left. So it then does add that, which then you just feel again, is that too much of the producers fiddling with the film?
It brings us then nicely on to Alex. So Alex's diva, first of all, was Orville Peck. And you knew that no one knew who he was because even on the edit, they stopped all sound.
I know who he is. I'm down with the kids.
But they cut all the sound off as if tumbling, dustweed or whatever, tumbleweed even, is blowing through the desert. And then, they all look at each other. So they edited it already as if she'd made a wrong decision.
So, this is the thing, though, isn't it? Where, the decision on what you were going to make would have been made before you've met anyone else on the show. You've found you've got in. You need to find X amount of patterns. If you make it through to the final, you need to have all of these things. So you're going to go, well, yeah, okay, he is a diva. And maybe... And it's that thing, we've just got rid of Marcus, where we said he was always for taking a risk. And it is a risk, because you hear the word diva, and you do think of female. So, was she thinking, oh, well, I can do this, because it will make me stand out? So then you have to say, okay, that's fine. I could accept that. I was like, okay, I'm fine with that. I didn't have a problem with her doing what she wanted to do. But then when I looked at this, I was just like, but... he would be completely bedazzled with everything. It would be a lot more shiny. It would be, you could have used a more metallic print and everything. It would have had all the fringing and everything else. It would have had all of that stuff, but because that's his signature look. But I feel that the denim brought the diva down in the outfit. Yeah. And that it needed to be something more like, what you would expect to see. And maybe instead of going for a shirt and the trousers, she'd have gone maybe with like a waistcoat and the trousers, and then that would have taken the time out of all the arms and everything, and then she could have done a lot more, you know, with beading and fringing and everything else like that. And I know she wasn't dressing Orville, but she didn't do the signature face mask, you know, that he wears with all the fringing on. So, you know, there was elements of, it wasn't, you know, she's got two little hearts there, and it's not jazzed it up enough because she didn't have enough time, to be fair.
No,
she didn't have enough time.
No, but
so then the question
do you think she put the hearts on because she knew she needed to make it more razzmatazz? Were they bolts on?
I don't know. I don't know. But it was that idea of like, well, I kind of got where you were coming from, but then maybe you should have chosen different fabric. And then there was a case of like, well, now it doesn't really look very diva-ish, so therefore should you be punished for that? But then when you look at the amount of sewing she had to do and top stitching and the fringing again and all of that, okay, she didn't get her buttons on, but let's face it, nobody's got their buttons on the whole bleeding series, have they?
Absolutely.
I mean, I don't think we've seen a single outfit with the right number of buttons on. So the fact that she's got none on, and you know, you think, well, actually on the shirt, it doesn't really matter because he would have just had a white shirt under it like this guy has, and it probably would have come off at some point in the performance. So, you know, get the button on the trousers maybe, but I could have lived without the shirt buttons.
I wonder if she'd done a two-piece before, so she thought when planning for the sewing bee and you have to submit your designs and it says create a diva for a stage outfit, she probably thought, I've done a jacket and trousers, a combo. Therefore I could fit it to...
The problem.
No?
But the problem is that as he's just turned around there, that does not say diva. Because the blue denim has just drained all of the diva out of it. And Orville Peck is not just denim, flat denim like that.
It was heartbreaking for me because the way they edited it, and there were several comments about it not being razzmatazzy enough or bright enough or diva enough. I think we all knew then Alex is going home, didn't we?
Well,
really?
Well, again, I wasn't watching it that closely, but
well, I did. I
know what you're saying, but part of me was still. Susie had not done well in the first round. She had not done particularly well in the second round, and she was making hers, and things were not going particularly well here either. Yeah.
Well, let's go on to it. We'll break alphabetical order to go on to Susie's. But they only
I get the design. I get the Gaga. I could certainly see her wearing this. I don't have a problem with it fitting the diva, but I have a problem with it fitting into a sewing show where, you know, she's only got one button on instead of two. And she only had, to be fair, it was only two buttons. It wasn't exactly like she was buttoning the whole front down there.
No.
So she didn't get another button on. The pocket wasn't sewn properly. So we had a mis-sewn pocket. We've had the bum fall out of the other one on the second challenge. Yeah. So you're not taking care with your seams and your stitching.
But we've always discussed though that the made to measure definitely has way more weighting than the other two rounds. So yes, she's made more mistakes over the last three challenges, but they've obviously weighed up the fact that this is more diva-ish and the bigger weighting, so that meant she was saved and Alex wasn't.
What do you want me to do? Throw a slipper? Because I think
no.
I didn't feel that, and it's nothing against Susie. I felt that Susie should have gone the last 2 or 3 weeks. There was a good chance she could have gone.
Yeah.
She's been in the bottom, the last few weeks. That her sewing is not as up to par as the other, and I think it would have been a struggle anyone this week. But Alex was one of the few who has been finishing garments since the second,
pretty much,
first week, the second, third week, and she's got good skills. And yes, maybe she overstretched herself with a bit there. And then this is where I kind of was like, I don't know how I feel about this, because there is the part of you that goes, okay, if we are watching this for the very first time, Alex didn't finish. Alex didn't get the buttons on. Alex's sewing around the cuffs wasn't that good. Alex's didn't necessarily look very diva-ish at the end. And this one looks like Lady Gaga. You could even get away with saying maybe it is only supposed to have one button at the top. And, yes, she didn't catch that pocket, but the overall look seems to be there. therefore Alex should go home.
Yeah,
but you're also going to have the other camp that say Alex is one of the most consistent sewers, and Susie is one of the most inconsistent sewers, and she had not done very well in the previous challenges. So I found it really hard, because part of me was like, she should have gone, if you look at the whole thing and you look at the whole series. And Alex, do you give her but then we've had it in the past where, we all know you have a bad day in the sewing room, you can go home. But I feel that this close to the final, I just felt that Alex was going to be one of those, and possibly should have been one of those, based on everything she's done over the last few weeks.
But that's what's so good about these series, isn't it? And like with Bake Off, you don't judge past makes, do you? You never judge past makes. It's always on the three.
But then they do sometimes. They've done it before on here. They've done it on the Bake Off, where they've gone, well, we couldn't really make a decision today, so I've had to look back at what's been going on.
Oh, right.
Hollywood has definitely done that in the Bake Off. And as it gets, to the sharp end here, I'm sure Patrick had said that in the past as well.
Yeah.
And and I get it, because, we said up until the Made to Measure, you couldn't get a fag paper between them. But, you say that, but then Susie had messed up the fringing, and Susie's bum had fell out of her transformation challenge. And that was just this week. We could go back through.
Yeah, indeed. It's difficult, because that is a stage outfit for the O2. It is big, isn't it? It does say everything that we expect. And as poor old Alex said, the stage they were picturing wasn't the stage that she was picturing.
No. I find it, like I said, I just found it difficult, because I also felt that the Orville Peck one wasn't diva-ish enough. I feel that the blue denim just zapped it. And I feel if she'd have used something more metallic, that maybe she'd have had a better chance at saying, well, yeah, she's done a good bit of sewing. She hasn't quite got the buttons on, but at least it looks diva-ish. I think the problem is that Susie's looks diva-ish, but there are sewing errors in it. But the look has taken it.
Oh, absolutely. That had the stronger weighting. And that's where I feel that's still the right decision. I wasn't angry. I was angry at the end because I'd lost Alex, but I was also, this was still...
I am surprised, because you've loved Alex, and normally you go into an absolute despondent despair when your favourite goes home.
I know, but because I actually agree with the criteria and where Alex missed out. This was a stronger weighting for the stage outfit for a diva, and it is that. Yes, I know she didn't have the button and the pocket, but it still outweighs, I think, overall, holistically, doesn't it?
I mean, I'm finding it hard, because obviously I feel if Alex had finished and it just didn't look diva-ish, then I'd have a bit more of a leg to stand on. But obviously there were elements of Alex that weren't finished as well. But I'm of the view that that's the only time that's happened.
Yeah.
Whereas you could pick any of the previous 7 episodes, and Susie will have a garment that's not finished.
It is true. Let us know what.
More than one.
Yeah,
let us had all 3.
Let us know what you think in the comments, and look at that. Look at that criteria. Maybe what we know of the criteria, and balance that argument out if you can. I'd be interested to see what you feel.
There is another argument that says that the prediction I made a few weeks back, where I said I wouldn't watch it unless Luke, Ailsa and Pasha were in the final. And I felt bad for not including Alex. But of course, based on everything we've said now, maybe that Susie is going next week. And then I predicted it 4 weeks ago.
Let's have a look.
Maybe I'm on the producing panel this year.
Let's go back to our alphabetical order then. Let's go to Luke. Luke's was Lady Gaga as well.
I think this is where, if you're going to compare with Alex, like they said, what is underneath that top is very basic. It's a pair of leggings, and it's a basic top underneath. And then he put the effort into the PVC, and getting the silhouette of the black on the top with the IKEA light and everything like that.
Yeah.
But what was underneath was very basic, and I feel that's where she perhaps went wrong with the Orville Peck one, is that she could have done something very basic, like a waistcoat or something like that, and then got the stuff on top of it.
Yeah.
Sorry, I know I'm talking about Alex again, but that's what
No,
Luke's
that's
done
right.
here. I'm not, he has done exceptionally well. I'm not trying to say that he didn't deserve to get all the accolades because he did, but that's because you look at it at that perspective and go, yeah, I'm going to make a basic silver bodysuit underneath,
Yeah,
and
which
then I'm
is
going to
that.
put all this structural element on the top
Yeah.
that is going to get the silhouette that you're going to see from the back of the O2.
Yeah. Well, you look at that, though. That is the engineering of those shoulder pads, the vinyl there that he's using. Then he's got the snake skin too on the breast. Then he's got some mesh over the top there. That's a lot of fabric. That's a lot of skill there, isn't it? Just blew me away.
It was a lot of needles as well, because all you could
Yeah.
hear was the machines going every time the needle broke. I was like, yeah, you'll be loving it, the amount of needles they're getting through.
It was just brilliant. And of course, the idea of a stage outfit being seen from a distance, that's where that whippy thing comes in really handy to grab the eye and say, look at me.
I was watching close enough to know that is supposed to be motorcycle handles.
Oh. Oh dear! Oh yes, it was the motorbike various outfits of Lady Gaga put together. Yeah. But this is where I think. So when he got the brief, he's been given. All right, you're on the sewing bee. You need to give us your 10 makes. He's clearly thought about this because of even the little light. So go on.
He's a drag queen, and a drag queen does not go into the background on the stage,
right?
Do they? So he knows exactly how to stand out on the stage.
Well, there you are.
Those design elements are what he's good at, and that's paid off for him.
And that's where, if you're on these type of shows, this whole week was music to his ears. He could just have fun and I think that's why perhaps we enjoyed it, because we saw him certainly really blooming and blossoming.
Yeah, and it was their week to win at the end of the day. So that was absolutely appropriate what happened from their perspective.
Finishing with Pasha, was Beyonce, the mirror bodysuit.
You can see it from a distance. That's what it's about. It's about being able to see that, and again, relatively basic catsuit or undersuit there.
Yeah.
But then with the puffball sleeves and then that wire cage skirt, focusing on the element that is going to make it stand out.
Absolutely.
And have something quite basic as your base.
And that's where you really can see that's good planning, isn't it? This basic make out of the 5 hours, but then you're going to leave yourself a lot of time to make the complicated visual, which is going to get the the eye. Yeah. And that was clever. But as I say, we've had the main argument, so we kind of knew where we were going to go. It was obvious who was going to get Garment of the Week, wasn't it?
I think so, but then I think there was still an element of me going, well, I've not been able to call anything this series, so it could go any way. But I think I would have been hurling a slipper if it wasn't.
Yeah. I thought it could have been Elsa's cowboy, maybe, for the transformation, even though it wasn't.
I know they did the alligator the other week, but it's got to be exceptional if you're going to use a transformation as a garment, because they've had 90 minutes to make it. Most of those 90-minute garments wouldn't hold up. Yeah.
But yes, we knew it as soon as they were talking about, what stage is it? Oh, not enough razzmatazz. I just knew. I wish, because you weren't there, I had no one to chat to. So I was chatting to Sue and Irene, my Friday knit and natterers on WhatsApp, and I went, I think it's going to be Alex. It's going to be Alex going home, and they all could see it.
I sent you a message with the score for the football.
You kept me up to date. Slipper count. Well, I kind of didn't throw any. You throw one at one point, but it was a good episode. It was an enjoyable episode.
Well, I mean, you could put another one on there, because I did throw one, because I still think Alex should be there, even though there were some elements wrong.
But from what I know, we've talked about it over the last 7 weeks. We've felt a little bit detached from the series. For the first time ever, I felt we've not been arguing over who our favourite is or getting upset when our favourite gets knocked out. And I don't feel I've been waiting for Tuesday to come round so I see my favourite 2 or 3 sewers again. We've said that consistently all throughout. So it was refreshing to get this episode.
I'll let you into a secret.
Go on.
Luke's my favourite.
Well, only just or from the beginning?
After 8 weeks, I'm prepared to say. But that is, although I had that, whatever it was, rant 4 or 5 weeks back where I was like, they're the only 3 that are finishing garments, which is still true. But I just feel that he cemented, and it was his week, Diva week, was just the one for them. But they've been doing well across the board. So if they go home next week, then maybe I won't watch the final.
Oh, no, you will. We've got so far now, haven't we?
No, it might not. It's the first week of the school holidays. They did this last year. You're lucky because I'm not going away this year. Whereas last year I went away and you had to squeeze it in.
Oh, well, there we are. I say refreshing to have a lovely episode where we could get into it, enjoy it, also have a intellectual discussion about whether it was Alex or Susie, I think, looking at the criteria.
I think you might be stretching it for intellectual.
Next week, you might throw a slipper, though. It's fashion icons. So Diva week, fashion icons.
Is it too similar?
Isn't it?
Are they running out of ideas?
Challenges inspired by Balenciaga, Gaultier, and Chanel.
Why not mix it up? Now you've only got. I know Luke's still in there. Why have we not had a men's week? We've made all these dresses,
I know,
and everything like that. But no, let's do fashion icons, which is very similar to Divas.
I think so. Yeah. Don't forget those all those products. If you want to go onto my website, the description below, grab a bargain. Oh, that's my script. Look, they're all my notes. Yeah. I need to add to now who's got. Week all my made to measures and things. I need to do that. Keep that. I've got them for going back years, would you believe? Anyway, that's enough from us. Let us know in the comments and we'll see you for the semi-finals. Fashion Icon Week, 2 more weeks to go and then it's all over with for another year. Cheers everyone. Thanks. See you. Bye.